You will sleep better than you have ever slept. You've never been this relaxed. Are you ready to change your life? I'm Rusty Diamond, certified hypnotist. You don't need to leave your house. You can stay in your bed. You can stay in your favorite chair. You just need a computer or your phone. You can get a hold of me. Stay at home. I'll make your life better.
Hypnosisisgreat.com.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Oh, Miss Rusty. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Public Access Podcast, a special summer recording. I'm going to do a few this summer. I was going to take the whole summer off, but I decided not to. So, but there's going to maybe be a few. There are a few here, but this is a special one. So, welcome here on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. It's Monday, Canada Day. Today's Canada Day. So, thank you, Canada. Thank you, Canada. Um, yeah, that's what I got. Maybe that's what today is. All Canada all day. So thank you everyone for being here. You can watch the show. If you're listening to this, you can watch it too on YouTube or Rumble. And if you're watching this and you really would rather just listen, that's cool. That's cool. I get it. Uh, we'll do that. You can do that anywhere you listen to podcasts, probably anywhere, most anywhere. But that's easy. That's the easy part. And now it's time for me to bring on my special guest because it's a special show today. So my special guest is right here and right now. And my special guest right here and right now is back again, amandaolejarz. Thank you for being here, Amanda.
Thank you for having me, Rusty. I'm super excited.
Hell yeah. It's been a long time. It was, I want to say, I don't know, at least a year ago. So, um, whatever was going on back then, whatever is going on now, it's probably some sort of evolution since then, but who knows? Who knows? Yeah, right.
Fingers crossed, it's been evolution for sure.
Yeah, trying for it, but you can. I don't know. I guess if you're aware of it, then that's probably a good sign that whether it's there or not. That's at least something. That's what I think. I think, and maybe we'll tell people sometimes every so often, but who knows? Who knows? Any progress forward is good progress.
Facts.
Yeah, doesn't need to be a lot, but as long as it's something. But yeah, so how have you been? How have you been the last 389 days? I don't know how long it's been. I'm just throwing a number out.
I feel like that's a good number, 389.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
I
a
feel
winner.
like life has been great, and at the same time, it's been super sucky. So, like, I'm living the dream. Sometimes it's mine, sometimes it's somebody else's. Either way, I'm still here. I'm still grateful, and I mean, the only thing I can do, I literally just got the best advice a few minutes ago, is keep walking through the fire. And I'm like, yeah, that's all we can do, really. Sometimes the fire is good. Sometimes it's, we got to run.
Yeah, and you need to go and get you need to touch the fire. Not everyone does, but some people need to touch the fire. Some people need to go. Something a million people can tell you that the fucking fire is hot and fire bad. Like you gotta, some people are just like, okay, I gotta touch the fire. Is it really that bad? Is it really going to be that hot? And it is, but yeah, you can either stop in it, or yeah, you just, yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Where'd you hear that? Where'd you come across that?
One of my girlfriends was asking me how my summer has been treating me, and she was looking where to get a kayak. And I'm like, well, long story long, this is what's happened the last like week. And she's like, oh, well, you just got to keep walking through the fire and just keep going through it. And thanks for the kayak recommendation. I'm going to get it. I'm like, beautiful. Fire and water, they balance each other out.
Yeah. What's been the deal the last week?
Ooh, okay. So I was supposed to go camping, except the weather was less than ideal. Flooding took over everything. So I stayed here, had an awesome weekend. But then I picked up a shift that I don't normally do for one of my girlfriends that like never asked me to work. And it turned into not just one shift, but a double shift. And I was on my way to go get lunch. I was actually on my way to come home to make lunch. And then the FedEx driver, the FedEx truck rolled back into me off of the little hill and just clunked me. And I saw the whole thing happening. I know you're not supposed to like tense up, you're supposed to chill out. But me being like victorious, thinking I could just stop anything, I honked on the horn, thinking that's going to do so much. So I tensed up the entire time as he hits me. And I'm like, oh crap, there's a car behind me. So I know if I hit him, it's going to be my fault. And I don't want anything to be my fault, right? I'm already innocent victim. So
Yeah.
I hold on the brakes like bloody freaking murder. Like the tire marks are still in the parking lot.
Holy
But
shit.
like the cop gets there because I'm like, yeah, I gotta call the police. This is not even fun. The driver lies about it. He says that I run into him, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, there's no way that I would do this much damage like that. Like, I'm going up a little gradient. It's not like the most steep hill, but there's still enough that like if I'm gonna hit you, I have to be going pretty freaking fast. But like the impact of him and like the weight of the truck, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I was in chronic pain for 17 years of my life. I've been out of pain for 4 years and 2 months. I don't want to go back. And I was in pain for last week and I was losing my mind. It was so terrible. Like the whiplash. I'm like, oh, I'm a big baby now. Like talk about pansy ass princess, like right here. But then yeah, I called off of work and then I wound up finding like a hornet's nest inside my wall that ate through my drywall that's in my spare room. And there's a bunch of dead bees all over and a towel underneath my door because I'm waiting for my HOA to come and send somebody to fix it. But I'm like,
Holy shit.
I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
So okay, so hold on one sec. Back up a second, not like the truck should have done. So you said the truck had tire marks? And there were tire marks. Was that from the truck or was that from you?
No, that's from me because like he backed into me and I stopped. My foot was on the brake. So I didn't want to slide into the guy behind me. So yeah, he moved my car back. That's where the tire marks are from.
Whoa, okay. And so what'd the cops say? What, the cop figure it out?
Well, no, because it was on private property. It's up to insurance. The cop just took 2 sides of the story and then that's it. So I asked the police officer what he said. And he said that I ran into him. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. So I'm like, officer, what do I do now? And he's like, well, at this point in time, there's nothing that he could do. It's up to insurance to handle everything. So I'm like, dear Lord. The cool thing is there's cameras on the back of the truck, but FedEx has been less than ideal about, handing over their footage. And I'm like, it's his fault. They're going to see that. So now I bet it's going to mysteriously disappear or whatever. But
Right.
it's my insurance and then their insurance or his insurance. They're doing a dance right now.
It's a long dance too. There's a lot of it's a wild fucking thing. And I know that in Illinois there are some weird laws with the insurance. So yeah, it's a whole thing. But okay. So are you feeling any better?
Yeah, I got a 2-hour restructure massage and vagus nerve stimulation and NPS therapy. So I have been feeling a completely different person since then, like back on the up and up, not like crying like a little beep and beep.
Right. How long did it take you to go from did you like, what, did it take a couple days before you were able to like see someone? Or was it like the first thing
Yeah.
on your head? Like, I need to get there right now. Like, I should be doing this. Like, as soon as the person hits you, like, okay, I know I need to go
Well,
fucking see my buddy right now.
well, I feel like I knew I needed to, but X, Y, and Z, I still had to work, right? Like
Right.
the adrenaline, I'm like, just keep going, just got to keep going. I slept great that night. I woke up, I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I've been a massage therapist for 17 years. I could take care of my own body. I could do this. But then I realized when I called off work, I'm like, I can't do this by myself. I need to get help. So I got the first available appointment I could, which I think was about 5 days after. Because this just
Wow.
happened last Monday.
Yeah.
And also, it's been like 8 days since I quit smoking nicotine too. So I'm
Oh
fine.
shit.
I'm totally
What
fine.
what prompted that?
Well, I've been trying to quit nicotine for like a long time. This is like the 800th time that I've stopped, but I just don't want to be an addict anymore. If I'm going to be addicted to something, I want it to be healthy. I don't want to be coughing up a lung. So it was
Well,
time.
you probably will be for a little bit. But you know what? It's good because it's getting it all out. And you're past the hardest part. Day 3, day 1, 2, and 3, and then day
Well,
6 is like when it comes back for that little last part, and then you're good.
I've quit for 3 weeks, 3 times already this year.
So what's different this time?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I just don't want to. Like before, I've wanted to. I've wanted that escape, and now I just want to start like throwing fists or something. I'm not sure.
Is the throwing fist, would that be something new you'd want to do to like every time like you get that craving, start throwing some fists? Would that be something that I don't know, like I've done weird things. I got into skateboarding one time. I stopped and I
Ooh.
was like probably like in my mid 20s and it was too late. But I don't know. I felt like finding something else to do was always a good something. Or do you have something else that you've gone and switched to do
I'm
that, or is it yeah.
starting to get back more into art, but not just like doing art. I started selling some of it too. So I'm turning my hobby into a side hustle. So
Oh, hell yeah. What's your what's the, what is it, medium? What is your choice of tool? What is your choice of tool to use to
my
create
tool
the art? Your
choice, you
your
see.
tool choice.
I really like acrylics. I know they're not the best for the environment, but I feel like I just love flow art and the way that they feel. I like to finger paint a lot, so they're really good for
Okay.
finger painting.
Okay. And so when you finger paint, do you use one finger or do you like start using your hand? Or is it like you can use I don't know, like is it I'm thinking of like how you can have like a different size pen like with a computer and you can make the dot bigger and bigger. So like
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like have you
Yeah.
got like so do you use like your whole hand or is you just like a little like tip
So
of your finger?
it depends on what I'm doing, but usually it's like the whole finger and I kind of like wipe it through and then like edges and stuff. But
Oh
like I
shit.
do a lot of abstracts, so it's like about the blending and getting stuff like smoother than just rough and rigid.
Cool. What got you into doing that? Into
Uh well, you're supposed to do stuff with your hands all the time, and I feel like I don't have the control that normal people do with a paintbrush. I'm much better with my fingers, even though they're not that good to begin with, but I'm more confident in it. And I don't want to like, there's no struggle bus upstairs when I'm doing it like that.
do you have like if someone asked you, do you have a certain go-to pattern for some sort of massage? Like could you uh if you were to do the massage in like a general form, like very basic general massage, do you have like I don't know, like an order you do it in, like sort of like a map? Like if you were to go and like put your hands or your fingers or hands or whatever part, and then like do the whole motion on a piece of paper, like if you were to massage someone's back, but do it all like, or even if you had it on top of somebody, like that was like if you got
Interesting.
a big old thing of butcher paper like we used to have in school, like the big old fucking, you tear it off and throw it on top of
Yeah.
someone, and then do like all that, and then if it might be hard to get people's, uh, but it would be a cool thing to videotape or whatever, but because it would look cool to like see that progress of it, but you'd have to get the people's permission, but or if you had something in your head where you already knew that where it needed to be able to do that. I don't know. It was a weird random thought that came out in my head, but
I
yeah.
feel like I definitely saw a vision for something. So we're going to see if I can't make that into reality because
Okay.
it looks cool up here. Making
Yeah.
it is a different story, but I'll send you the progress.
Okay. Yeah, I think that could be it would look cool too on a wall. Like if you had like if it was a big butcher paper, like if you had someone's like hold back, like that's like that's
Life
pretty fucking
size.
yeah, life size. And it would be like I don't know, like it'd be like instead of a mirror or something, it would be like that kind of thing to put on a wall. I think it would look cool. So that's I
I
don't,
dig it.
I don't know. So that what do you like have a site or something, a website where you put your art, or you have like a gallery
Uh,
or a place that as you go to your office and then
Office space right now, no. As of right now, my stuff is just at Unity in Naperville. They
what?
started an art gallery, which kind of inspired me to do this. I will be posting it on my website at www.amandaolejarz.coach/art. But
Cool.
taking pictures of stuff, you're your own worst critic. And then I start looking at stuff and I'm like, I should have done this and this. Because I'm doing it all myself, I'm like, take my sweet time. There's no rush for me. I'm a hippie.
Yeah. Who so you do all your uh social media stuff, like all your social media and like I mean, I don't know. Do you like do you have your phone around you a lot doing whatever it is you're doing, or is your phone out sometimes, or like what's your phone game with that? How's that work for you?
I feel like video editing I've always kind of enjoyed. It's always been a hobby of mine. So I want to do more of it than I actually do. But because I've been doing massage therapy or I've worked at the hospital, those are both places you can't have your phone on you. So when my phone is on me, it's on me and I know it and everybody else around me knows it. When I don't have it, I am doing legit anything else and I forget about it. So there's no real balance. It's one extreme or the next.
It makes sense though. It makes sense. And so then what is it you enjoy about the video editing? Is it
I'm
the same
not
as art?
entirely like sure. There's so many parts of it. I feel like it's being able to tell a story, um, and like I don't know, cutting up what you see and like condensing it, being able to get, I don't know, a different feel from how you put things because there's so many different ways that you can use like the same roll of film and so many different messages you can roll with that. I feel like that's part of the fun, but that's also part of the you have to make sure that what you're doing is intentional too.
Yeah, and then people can interpret it in any way. And there's
Mhm.
another thing too, like no matter how intentional you set something, it can always be taken a million different ways, probably literally a million different ways. I mean, everybody has their own way of looking at things, and I don't know. And a lot of art is left up to interpretation. And is that anything that ever goes to your head when you're making any art, or is it just I'm doing what I'm doing because I want to do this? This is what I'm feeling right now.
I do both, and I feel like they both are blessings and they both give me anxiety. But the stuff that I see in my head that I'm actually able to physically create is the stuff that really, really flows. And that's the stuff I'm like, all right, this is supposed to be here. The other stuff, you know, is still collecting dust in my closet. I'll get to it when it speaks to me or when I'm not feeling like it's worthless.
Yeah. And so do you set aside time? You're like, oh, it's time for me to do art, or is it just whenever, like, it's fucking time. I got 31 hours here sitting down. I'm going to be doing this. I'll get up a few times in that time frame and then I'll be done for a little bit. Is that what happens, or is it kind of a mixture?
I usually try to block it out for at least 4 hours or more at a time. The longer, the better.
Yeah.
Um, but sometimes it's planned. I would say that's a little more random than it is planned. It's usually sporadic and yeah, sporadic and cuts into my sleep time, but it's worth it usually.
Yeah. I mean, that's an okay thing to have a little bit of extra time to do. And like, yeah, the sleep is you'll catch up on it. It'll still happen. What do you well, this is a weird question. Your sleep. Uh do you sleep like is your sleep like pretty consistent, or is it you try to be, or is it
Hmm.
like you wake, like, oh, it's about bedtime, and then like wake up kind of the same time every day?
So my sleep, because I'm actually a sleep tech too. I have a degree in sleep technology. I regulated my sleep so hard, especially during the great lockdown of 2020. Up until my car accident last week, it's hunky dory. I go to bed at the same time, unless like I'm in the zone for like art. I wake up just before my alarm clock all the time. It's glorious. I love my sleep and I have a schedule. The last
Yeah.
week's been kind of up and down.
What do you use for an alarm clock?
Well, I use my phone alarm clock that I keep like on the other side of my bed, but honestly, like when I get up, I do my little morning meditation before I roll out of bed. And then on my way out the door to pick up my phone, that's usually when the alarm is going off because I do set them for the just in case, right? We all need that crap. I need to get up or I need to get out of here, like woo woo, something's happening. But
Right.
that's like perfect timing. And that happens legit like every freaking day.
So is that the first thing you're doing then when you're waking up? You're going right into meditation when you're still in that same brainwave going?
I try to remember my dreams, pick back in there, do a little dream recall, figure out like what I can remember, the emotions behind it, if there's like a deeper message that I can pick through it. And then it's like, all right, cool. What's the intention going to be for the day? I'm very well rested. Where in my body do I need to move a little extra? What needs to be like spoken to or like get out more into the world? What's like my game plan?
And how much does that help though in the during the day? I mean, does that help out like probably quite a bit? Like,
100%. I found that when I do it in the morning is really good, but when I'm like doing more stuff at night, it's better because then like my anxiety is down because I've already done that. So it's in my brain already. I just have to pick it up in the morning. So it's really like the night routine that gets everything in there.
so you do it in the morning and night, or you're saying you do it in the morning and then life is easier at night?
I mean, the beautiful thing is it's both, but I started doing it at night and then switched it up in the morning because I used to be like a super negative person and I used to be an insomniac. So I switched up my sleep because that's what I knew how to do. That's what I was trained to do. So I'm like, let's do it. And I realized that it was happening very good at night, but I was waking up on the wrong side of the bed, slash, I was waking up on the right side of bed and transferring over to the wrong side of the bed, and I didn't want to be. So I'm like, what do I do for this? So I did some of the stuff from the night and morning.
And how long did it take for you to kind of be able to switch and be like, okay, was it sort of, I don't know, was it like difficult to be like, okay, this is what I think I should be doing, then like kind of go for it for a little bit, or are you just kind of right in the first day and you're doing day 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and you're just gone?
So I'm an addict, right? So I was gun ho, let's do it. I was so good until I wasn't good. And then I didn't do it for a long time. And I started asking myself, like, what was going on? And it brought me back to that. So I had to be intentional, bring it more to awareness and be like, all right, there's something I'm supposed to do. What am I supposed to do? And like talk that little voice down that said, well, you've already been awake. It's not going to make any difference. You might as well just get on with your day. Like turning that off and actually doing it. That's what made the difference.
What was, I mean, how long did that one take? How long did to get to that? Was that a
Oh,
rather fast thing, or?
yes. When I want it to be, it's really fast. But I noticed that like there's times that I just want to argue. There's straight up times where I'm like, I want to be a little combative or aggressive, whatever it is. And I do it with myself. So when I want to argue with myself, yeah, it's the end of the world. But when I do it, I just like let my own stuff go. It works like instantly.
So then at night, then you said it's easier. Um, is it kind of like the whole day? You're just sort of like, I don't know. Or I guess when was the last time you didn't? Was it like recently when you, after the car, after the truck hit you?
Yeah, so after the accident, I just felt like I was tensed up and like I hate to use like any kind of negative language, but I was just scared, right? There was nothing I really could have done. There's nothing I could have done different in my eyes. But
Right.
like that internal fear, I feel like just stayed in my body and like that tense up, like I couldn't just like let it go. So that led to the, all right, well, let's keep the adrenaline going. I'm not tired. Well, if I'm not tired, like all of the bad habits that I used to have from back in the day just started popping up. And part
Interesting.
of like my internal battle was I didn't want to be stronger than them, slash, I didn't have the energy to keep being as strong as how many I had. So it wasn't until I did
Okay.
that self-care that it started getting more easier. And I'm like, yeah, all right. Like I definitely can do this. I know that I'm capable of it. And then it's like everything else just started coming in.
So then what do you think it was that kind of uh caused everything to start coming back, caused all those other old feelings to come back? Was it when you stopped, meditating in the morning, or was it the muscle memory from it being tense, and then that sort of got you back into that tense state of mind of what your body knew how to do when you were tense?
Because I was in a car accident, my very first one when I was 19 years old, and I was rear-ended there was nothing that I could have done. It's kind of like the same thing, just 19 years ago. So I feel like I was going back in there. And when I was 19, I was crazy, out of control. And I'm like, I can see that I'm going back to that person and I don't want to be there. So it's like, when you go through trauma, you go back to the last place because you've already been there. Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. It's familiar, so it's comfortable. And when you
Right.
know it's not the best way to do it, but you haven't been in that new situation, it's like, it's completely shocking. So I feel like the real big part was the physical touch from the massage, especially like to my back, just like that overall calming presence, like my body felt it. Like I didn't have to be in survival mode. I was actually okay and I could be calm, cool, and collected. Like somebody else has my back beside me.
Literally.
Yes.
Okay. Shit. Well then, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so, I mean, now you're back to it, and I mean, yeah, I don't know, like, there's a lot of people that can stay in that state for a long time, but then you can't really tell them to get out. You can't say it's time to get out of that state. Like, and I don't know. It's one of those things that maybe if people hear it, they'll think it at some point. But like when you're in that state, you don't know. And then like we've all been in that state a number of times, and it's hard. What would you say would be the best way to go about doing that if somebody is in that and they're like, oh, they probably don't know first of all, or maybe they do know, but probably don't know.
Yeah, I feel like there's a big difference in my eyes between venting and bitching. When you're venting, you're getting it off your chest. When you're bitching, right? Misery loves company. So you have a great story to tell and you want to tell this story, and it's the only thing in the entire world that, happened. You're the victim and everybody's got to hear it. I know that I felt that I did need to vent and I needed multiple people to hear it because I do feel like I was innocent, but the thing is I needed to hear that it wasn't my fault. So after I went and I found those people to, naturally tell me that, I wasn't calling like, hey, can you tell me this? I was like, hey, this is what happened. They're like, you're going to be okay, blah, blah. And like the walking through fire, I'm like, ugh. But I found that when I was so sick of talking about it, and when I started to like, it became a couple days after, I'm like, all right, I know I'm physically safe. I'm not in this moment anymore. Somebody's asking me, how are you? And I'm like, you know what? I'm okay, but I don't want to talk about it because I'm going back into that state and I don't want to be there anymore. I have to like separate myself. So like that moment, that's the time to switch everything around. Like that does present itself multiple times. It's just which time are you going to get on it?
Yeah. And I mean, were you also thinking about kayaking too? Were you Are you out later, or did that come through? I went back. I went back like 25 minutes to like talking about kayaking. Like, was that something you thought of? Were you like, I can't go kayaking
So
now?
So ironically, the camping trip that I was supposed to go on is rescheduled for this weekend, and there's kayaking involved. I'm like, yes, this is gonna be glorious. And then for the split second, I'm like, am I gonna be able to do this? But I'm like, because of the therapy I've gotten, I feel like I'm going to be okay. However, I am very grateful for the people I'm going with that I didn't have to make any decisions because I was just like, can I just show up? I don't have the mental capacity to handle anything right now other than to throw a bunch of money at you and to enjoy the experience. And luckily, it all worked out. So I'm like, this is perfect because my body went from being traumatized and in survival last week to getting better this week, to me seeing the bright side of things. And now I'm going to be like completely engulfed in nature for a long time. Like, freaking thank you, universe.
Yeah. And I think it's important though, to get out to those times of getting into nature. Like I don't know, yeah, I'm trying to more and more. I decided to take most of the summer off, but that didn't work. Uh, I'm like, I'm gonna go out and try to get to the beach and shit, but it sometimes works. I've gotten some time. I've gotten some time in the water, so um, but yeah, I mean, it's important to get out, especially when you're not at a place that's nice all year round.
Hmm.
You got to get out and get that time. So, uh, were you always into kayaking? Is that something that is that
Nope.
a new,
That's a
uh,
lockdown thing for
oh,
sure. I saw a
okay.
TikTok of an inflatable kayak, and then I read some reviews. I'm like, there's no way that this thing is good. And sure enough, it's just that good. I'm like, all right. And it's super easy. Like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So
Yeah.
that's what I like.
Did you have people out there, around you that were also kayaking during lockdown? Was that where you had people like with, you know, yards, the 6 foot poles, out there, or do you
So
have enough room?
I didn't start that close to lockdown. This was more like at the end of that summer-ish.
Okay.
So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, yes, because once again, that's a cool story that I'd like to hear.
Yeah. And so, okay, so you got into kayaking. Were you doing what were you doing in nature before that? Before you got into kayaking, what was your
Nothing. I was
nothing?
working overnights, so there was no nature, there was no sunlight, there was no people, there was just me and darkness and yeah, misery. So kayaking got me back out in the world.
How much does it fuck people up? Um, being working nighttime, like,
Uh-huh.
eh,
It's
eh, yeah, go ahead.
it's not fun.
Right. It different. And if people want to hang out, nobody's like, "Hey, I'll meet you at 2:17 in the morning and we'll go out." It's like, "No, let's meet when I'm awake, when there's, sunlight out or something, or go meet them when you're first waking up," which I kind of like, but it was weird working overnight. I did it for a while, and uh, it's it's different. Like even doing like being out till 3, 4 in the morning, and then still having that like sort of in between is still kind of hard. Like I like waking up and seeing the sunrise. I enjoy it, but um, yeah, it's a whole different ball game when you're out there and it's dark all the time. I don't know, like were people when you were doing sleep tech, were people a lot of them more night people, or was that sort of a thing that you noticed, or was it kind of all over the board?
I feel like you kind of have to be a night person to work overnights to some extreme. But I feel like I found that most of those people weren't actual night people. um, they just thought that they were night people, which is the crazy part. But I do feel like because of just the way that like our brains work and you're going against your natural rhythm, like that does mess with not just your mentality, it messes with your biology and your emotions too, whether we want to admit it or not. But that just plays a baseline role in everything. So, yeah, it's hard and it's not talked about.
Right. And why is it not talked about? Is it something that people can like? I don't know, because it was weird, and like it's a different energy of people that are out working,
Mhm.
especially if it's something like you're saying, like it with if it's not you're not choosing to be awake because you want to be awake all night. You're choosing because you have your job that you chose to have. It's not I mean there's some jobs you can work overnight where it's a different reason. Like you're up because you like being awake at night. But um, I don't know. Like, I wonder if it, like, yeah, people don't really know it. I thought there were some cool parts about it. Like, it was nice, having a little bit of time to yourself and, less people out. But then that's also a weird thing too. And then, you got, if you're driving, I had it where I would, be in nighttime and I wouldn't have any traffic, and then drive in the morning and I'd be driving against the traffic, which was kind of a nice thing, but it's also, I don't know. I don't that was about it. The rest of it was hard to do anything. How long did you do that for?
6 years.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was fun. And I feel like I could relate to everything you said, but all of the blessings that came with working at night were their curses too. Just like, too much of a good thing is no longer good. So too much of not having too many people around is no longer good for you. Too much going against traffic is no longer good for you. Like, I'm not saying you have to be in there all the time, but we're supposed to be social creatures. We have biology for a reason. We're supposed to be listening to it. So I feel like you can't do nights for a very long time and have a sustainable life or very many people around you that actually care for you.
Right. Yeah. And maybe that could be different too. Yeah. Like not having, 'cause I mean, yeah, you're going to lose a lot of those relationships. Maybe not fully, but at least, like physically, like seeing people that you see normally, like, okay, well, we can't really hang out together. Like, well, I'm going to be up in the middle of my sleep and then, I don't know. But then I felt like it would be me. Like, people aren't, yeah, like I said, people aren't gonna go out in the middle of the night. Some people might. There might be a couple, but most of the time it's like, yeah, I can meet you, that I can get around somewhere on your schedule. And I kind of felt like that. Kind of always felt like I had to, I don't know. Yeah, I just kind of felt like everything was different. And the thing harder was a rotating schedule, or like a schedule that's sometimes day, sometimes night, sometimes swing shift. Um, that's definitely harder than doing night shift, but I don't know. They think that they need to do something to like somehow get rid of that kind of work where the stuff rotates. Or maybe some people can do it. You can only do it. I don't know. I feel like I could have done it till I was maybe like early 20s. And then after that, there's no way that, I could tell what was up, what was down,
Mhm.
half the time, because like I was like, I should be sleeping, or I don't know, I guess I'm supposed to be awake, or laying in bed going, I gotta go to sleep so I can get 5 hours of sleep. Oh, okay, well now I can get like an hour and a half at least. And you can't fucking do that. You can't do that when you're a little older than early 20s. I
Nope.
don't, yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that right now. Couldn't imagine going back to doing, I don't even know if I could do overnights anymore. Like, I don't know how long I'd be able to sustain that. I
I don't
I don't
want
know.
to.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know. But I mean, yeah, we're in a place where someone has to all the time, and so it's weird. Like, because some people definitely have to do overnight stuff, and it does pay a little more, but like, what's a little bit of extra pay for peace of mind?
So, I mean, yes and no, but I also found that when I was working overnight, yeah, I was getting paid a lot and I was so grateful for that. But I didn't want to just be buying random stuff, right? Like that
Right.
wasn't fulfilling to me. I wanted to do it for experiences, to travel, to hang out with people and do cool things. But when you're working overnights and you can't get the time off, and your PTO is like woo woo, like, what do you do then? You have all of this money and you're like, well, this is great. Like, I'm spending it by myself and now I'm a hoarder with a lot of cool things. Like, that's not
Yeah.
cool either.
Yeah. And then if other people want to go somewhere with you, um, and like, I don't know, if you go somewhere, you go on a vacation with someone or a group of people or whatever, and it gets to be like 10, 11 o'clock at night. Everyone else is going to bed. Well, okay, now do I have to get on this schedule for the time being that we're doing this? Then I have to get back to the other schedule. Do I kind of go in between, or am I just always tired? Um, did you have that? Was that a thing with you, or did you hang out with other? Did you hang out with other night people? Did you go to night people parties?
I
And
didn't know that many night people. I didn't know of like the night people parties that weren't, like exotic, if you will. But
right,
like the night people that I did know with respect, I didn't want to hang out with them all. Like, it is what it is. So I either catch myself entertained or find some night owls to hang out with. But that's part of the reason why I got into art, because you can do that at any time. And that's part of the reason why I do it at night, because that's usually when I started. It's my comfort zone.
is that your creative time? Like when you feel most creative, is that during the nighttime? Like if you had to pick a 90-minute block of time that's your most creative of the day, what would you say that time would be?
Yeah, definitely when the sun is down and it's dark out, because that's when the light is all the same.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good point. Um, so then do you have like a certain spot that you do your art, or is it kind of wherever you feel like it?
I have 3 desks. No, I'm sorry, 2 desks and 3 tables, and I do all of my art on my floor.
Okay, perfect.
Because that's where it belongs, apparently. I don't know what it is, but doing it on the floor, I feel like it's kind of because I have cats, and then it can't spill too much if anything were to, topple over.
Right.
It's nice and safe down there.
Do your cats like getting involved during when you're doing your art?
Sometimes there's little
Sometimes.
paw prints in some of my carpet from the one time that I didn't put a painting up in a protected area, and they got into it, and you can tell like they got most of the paint off because it's on my carpet. When I woke up, it was like dried there, and I'm like, well, this is a beautiful memory. Let's make sure like everything's off of you. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're interested for sure.
Uh, so okay. So again, then like, where can people find you in the out there in the
Yeah,
internet world, in the whatever world, the real world, anywhere, any one of those worlds, and they may overlap some.
all right. Well, I feel like let's start with real world, because that's where I live most of the time. Uh, I'm a big part of the Chicago veg community. We do a lot of plant-based events for my fellow vegans. And then I do a lot with Unity in Naperville. It's one of the churches I belong to. Well, the only church I belong to. I never thought I'd belong to one of those, but between those places, that's where you could find me in real life.
Hell yeah.
And in internet world, I'm amandaolejarz.vegan or amandaolejarz.coach. One of those two will bring you somewhere than I am.
Yeah, and okay, that sounds good. I so this morning I saw one of those memories, and so it was 4 years ago. I used to live next to the hormone processing plant, and so so it's July now, so uh, which was in Austin, Minnesota, which is like south central Minnesota, and yeah, it's like hot, muggy, uh, spam kind of a deal. And I'm like, yeah, that's gonna make me like yeah, like I think about that too. Like that's something that's still like in my nose. I'm like, yeah, that's a good way to get anyone to not want to eat. any of that
No.
crap. Like, uh,
Mm-mm. And then
yeah,
like the energetic part that comes with it too, like you are what you eat, you are what you consume. Like
right,
the animals, they got better senses than we do, right? So they
right.
can smell the blood, they know the fear, they know something's going on, but that stays inside their soft tissue. And then they get processed into whatever kind of burger or steak or patty it is your heart's desires. They package it up and then you eat it. And then that's what your body is. And it's like, I'm related news. That's why I smoke a lot of weed and why I preach what I preach, because that's not
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of fucking shitty energy that a lot of people take in, and it's hard to like recognize that, like how much like shit stuff is just coming in from what we're eating, or I mean, just even eating, like how much shit just it can make people feel a lot of different ways. I'm gonna cough. You guys talking about weed now. I got to cough. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of energy that's just fucking shitty. Like, yeah, it'll stick with you. Or one thing that someone said is with clothes, like, and that's something I think about too. Like with buying, like I don't know, I have like most of my clothes I got at thrift stores or stuff like that. But I'm like, it is taking on a lot of people's fucking energy, like these fucking clothes. And I don't know if I can bring someone over to do something about it, to get rid of the energy, or to cleanse it, or if that's something that's possible, or what. I don't know. I don't know what to do. But that's another thing. Like, and I didn't think about that until someone said something a few years ago, and I was just like, oh shit, yeah. Like, I don't know who wore these clothes, but I don't want to go out and buy new clothes really either. That's not something I'm really trying to do either. So I don't know how that works either.
All right, so I feel like somebody told me this a bunch of years ago because I'm a huge thrifter too, right? Like if I had to
Okay.
buy a new shirt at full price, like it's the end of the world, detrimental. Like,
Yeah,
no, it's not happening. I'm way too frugal for that.
me
Um,
too.
but it's all intentional, right? And energy is consistent. So like the first time that you throw it in the washer, like just have the intention that all of this water is going to cleanse every other owner's juju off, and this shirt is just supposed to have whatever it is it's supposed to have for, like, I say me, myself, and I, but for you, but say me,
Yeah.
myself, and I, or whatever. But yeah, throwing that in there,
I
because
like it.
honestly, I just spent, I think it was $40 at the thrift store the other day, and I walked out with 3 new pairs of pants and 5 new shirts, and I'm like, and a skirt. I'm like, this is fabulous. This is why I don't go to the regular store, right? This is way too
Right.
much. But like my washing machine is like, my guy. I'm just like, oh yeah, he's always gonna get all of the juju out. He's beating the stuff out that's not supposed to be there. And if anything is going to harm me, he's gonna get it out. Yeah, my
I
washing
like
machine
it.
is the key. But
I,
yeah, just do stuff like that.
that's fucking killer. Cool. Well, thank you so much for that, and thank you for doing this show today. I'm happy we got to do this again, and yeah, sometime hopefully less than a year, I'll like to be back on and see where everything is then, and go from there. But yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk sometime soon.
Yeah, awesome. Have a great future, Rusty. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you bet. We'll see you later.
Bye.
All right, that's Amanda Olejarz. So you guys fucking check her out. Check her out in the real world or in this world. You know this world. So thank you everybody for being here on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. You can check me out at rustydiamond.net or hypnosisisgreat.com. And that is the show, man. Boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.